Hey again, welcome back to Daily Dose of Anime Recaps. In this video, we'll be covering episodes 9 and 10 of the series, The Testament of Sister New Devil. Since the series beginning, Mio had been regretting having signed a master-servant pact with Basara, thus ending up as his slave, and being forced to suffer from the succubus curse quite often. As such, all of them had been anticipating the next month's full moon, the only time when the master-servant pact could be dissolved for good. Finally, the long-awaited night is here. However, there's been an interesting turn of events recently. Now, instead of losing his former slave Mio, Basara now gets to have another pretty girl literally dying to become his pet girl. Yep, out of desire to beat up the competition. Yuki even gets dressed up in stuff that's barely even called clothing. Anyhow, the ritual finally begins and is presided over by Maria as well this time around. Once again, Yuki surprises everyone with her determination by refusing to kiss Basara's hand, same as Mio had done earlier. This results in her too becoming afflicted with Maria's spicy curse, leaving Basara with no choice but to dominate Yuki to help her calm down. What's new is how both Yuki and Basara are able to cultivate their trust and level up on their first time together. That's totally unlike Basara's time with Mio, of course, since the two had been intimate for like half a dozen times already before becoming qualified for an update. The anomaly is certainly because, unlike the shy and cautious Mio, Yuki never had any qualms whatsoever about committing the deed with her childhood sweetheart Basara. Heck, it won't be an exaggeration to say that the dauntless girl literally jumped onto the silver platter and offered herself to Basara. Later, seeing how Basara's done playing around with Yuki's buttocks, Maria suggests for them to take a bath and enjoy being naked together. As always, saying no isn't really a choice for Basara, who soon gets dragged into the bath by three beauties. Meanwhile, Mio keeps feeling unbelievable at how she's to have a fun bath together with Basara as well as Yuki, an official hero clan member. Some distance away, Zolga's servant girl named Zest enviously stares at Basara spending chill time together with the females. Poor demon girl can't stand the fact that her creepy, wrinkled, and douchebag master Zolga is the polar opposite of Basara, someone who's not only young and handsome, but also quite playful. Alas, Zest seems to have long since accepted her fate of being lonely forever. Next morning, both Yuki and Mio seem to have discovered common ground and are unexpectedly getting along well together. Feeling unbelievable, Yahiro even compliments Basara's unique training skills that led to such a pleasant outcome. Such a shameless remark makes Basara's cheeks blush red. The dude then hurriedly runs off to the infirmary with the excuse of needing to have his injured finger patched up. Later, once Chisato is finished applying bandage to his wound, she advises him to stop fearing the inevitable obstacles lying up ahead. Instead, he should focus his energy more on how to decode those issues in the most convenient way possible. Before leaving, the mysterious woman even strangely warns Basara not to remove the bandage unless she tells him to do so. A while later, a green-haired lass makes an unexpected move on Basara. The matter soon escalates once the newcomer forcefully pushes Basara down, with the intention to have sex with him. Regrettably, both Mio and Yuki enter the changing room just then and are flabbergasted to see some random classmate lying on top of Basara. Mio's emotions immediately get the better of her, and so she runs away in a tearful manner. Meanwhile, Yuki, who's much more mature and level-headed, now launches a sudden slash against the green-haired culprit. Astonishingly, the girl does a perfect backflip to dodge Yuki's blow and is even leisurely enough to mock her for being so ruthless. This confirms Yuki's suspicion about the seductive girl merely being a puppet and that somebody else is pulling her strings from afar. Yuki's logical deduction makes Basara concerned for Mio's safety. The dude thus entrusts the two puppet girls to Yuki before rushing off after his stepsister Mio. Unfortunately, by the time he catches up to her, it's already too late. Apparently, Maria has betrayed both Mio as well as Basara for reasons unknown. Hence, the succubus girl helps Zest put Mio to sleep, and the two soon teleport away before Basara has enough time to land a hit. In the next scene, the unconscious Mio is seen having a couple flashbacks about how the wretched Zolga first killed her adoptive parents and later even attempted to steal away her inherited power. Thankfully, Maria, who had been under Zolga's command previously, had later rebelled at the last possible moment and therefore slipped away with Mio in tow. Back then, the revelation about about the dead ones merely being her adoptive parents as well as her being heir to the last demon lord truly felt like some sort of crazy fairy tale to Mio. Unfortunately, she soon got accustomed to the harsh reality and to struggle just to survive, with Maria being her sole companion as well as guide for months. Back in the present, Mio soon regains her senses and is disgusted by the look of Zolga, the one responsible for her adoptive parents' grueling deaths. Now, the wrinkled old wuss is of the mind to molest the pretty-looking Mio before finally sucking away the immense power lying dormant inside of her. Thankfully, his evil deed is interrupted right at the beginning thanks to Maria arriving with an important message up her sleeve. Turns out, the one on the line is Leohart, the current demon lord, who orders Zolga to head over at once and lend a helping hand for the inquisition of an ancient ruin. On the flip side, Basara pays Yahiro a visit, who reveals how he had indeed been having covert meetings with Maria previously. Turns out, the reason why Maria betrayed her loved ones is because of another loved one, her mother to be exact, is currently being held hostage by Zolga. Yahiro also points out how much of a lecher Zolga is, putting Mio's life at stake. As it happens, Mio being sexually intimate with none other than her master Basara will result in instant death for her. Left with no choice, Basara attempts to force Yahiro into revealing the location of Zolga's hidden base. Yahiro has other plans though, as he soon defeats Basara and later throws his unconscious body at Zest. Simply put, Basara's frenemy wishes to use him as a sacrifice in return for Mio's freedom. Also, not cooperating isn't an option here. Turns out Zolga had been planning to confiscate both Mio as well as Basara's power for himself, and eventually dethrone the current demon lord and replace him as the new king of all demons. Knowing all that, and with the captive Mio as proof, Yahiro now simply threatens to involve the demon lord Leohart and pull the curtain off of all of Zolga's wrongdoings. For a moment there, Zest really has Yahiro fooled into thinking how she's been concerned and will obediently cooperate as a result. Sadly enough, the mask-wearing dude pays a heavy price for being negligent and lowering his guard. As it happens, Zest swiftly slashes Yahiro's guts apart with quicksilver speed instead of complying with his demands. She then gives her master Zolga the return signal, since now he has not one but two scrumptious meals waiting to be devoured by him. In the meantime, Zest orders Maria to dominate Basara in bed and subdue his heart, as doing so would make it more convenient for Zolga to steal Basara's abilities. To fulfill her mission, Maria even uses her trump card by using some sort of weird key to transform her body shape from being a cute Lolita into becoming a seductive teenager, same as Basara. Sadly enough, despite all her efforts, Basara still eventually breaks free from her charm of pleasure and seduction. However, instead of attacking her, the do-gooder Basara swears an oath to rescue her mother, thus allowing Maria to return back to his camp. The dude's empathetic nature, as well as tendency to forgive easily, achieves the opposite than intended effect here. The succubus girl now starts to feel conflicted as well as frustrated at having to choose between two favorites. As a result, she goes berserk and even starts smothering Basara all over the place. Eventually though, Maria runs out of stamina and is touched once the still-standing Basara embraces her instead of declaring her a traitor or even leveraging the opportunity to attack her. On the contrary, Yuki easily discovers the place by utilizing the bond she shares with Basara now. Therefore, the cold beauty soon frees Mio from her bondage, and the two then together make a stand against Zest. With 2 against 1, Zest's chance of winning was slim from the very beginning. The white-haired demon girl soon gets beaten, right before her master Zolga finally returns back here. What's unexpected is how Zolga wishes to slay his loyal servant Zest, and therefore starts to strangle her ASAP upon his return. Thing is, all of Zest's thoughts and desires about wishing to have a younger master were being monitored by Zolga. Being considered an old prick surely annoyed him. When combined together with her recent failure, Zest obviously has no place by Zolga's side anymore. Fortunately, the demon girl is rescued from being throttled to death after Basara arrives and disrupts Zolga's pace with his banishing shift attack. Things go south though once Zolga utilizes his strange hypnosis abilities to put Basara under a mental spell, and then starts approaching the boy, hoping to suck away all his potential. This wraps up the episode's end, and we're left pondering several mysteries. For one, how will Basara be able to fare against Zolga's tricky mental attacks? Furthermore, will Zolga's evil scheme of snatching away both Mio and Basara's powers and becoming the new Demon Lord succeed? If not, what will become of Zolga once the current Demon Lord Leohart learns of his unexpected betrayal? Last but not least, will Basara be able to rescue Maria's mother in time as promised, or will Zolga have the final laugh by mercilessly exterminating Maria's beloved mother? Furthermore, what covert dealings could Maria possibly be having with Yahiro, who's neither a friend nor an enemy of Basara at this point in time?